is 10 o'clock. Commission Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Briscoe.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Eckert.
Here.
Commissioner Boatright.
Here.
Commissioner Wallace, if you could hear us a moment.
Well, we still have a quorum. And there he is.
Sorry about that.
Welcome, everyone. I have a friendly reminder that for all of us present today that we're continuing to provide live stream of our open meetings for the public to view from their home or office. If you're speaking, please be sure to speak into the microphone, that the microphone is on so viewers may hear you. We're going to start our meeting this morning with a brief safety emphasis. Gina Vaughn, Employee Development Specialist, is going to share with us what we need to in case of an emergency. And I'd like to see you after the meeting to understand what an Employee Development Specialist is.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, and Director McKenna. I have a few safety reminders this morning. In the event of a fire, the Commission, Director, and Commission Secretary will exit the rear of the room and out the back door in Conference Room 101 to the sidewalk on Jefferson Street. The audience will exit through the doors to the lobby and out the back building entrance by the loading dock and then proceed to the sidewalk on Jefferson Street. An alternate exit is down the stairs and out through the main entrance. Please walk up the hill on Jefferson Street until everyone is safely out of the back parking lot and a safe distance from the building and emergency response vehicles. In the case there is a small fire, there is a fire extinguisher in the rear corner of the room by the AV podium. I've asked Chris Kelly to retrieve and use the fire extinguisher if needed. In the event of severe weather, everyone should head to the center stairwell and go down as far as possible. If we must evacuate the room, please take a moment to make note of who you are sitting next to and make sure that upon your arrival to the designated safe location that your neighbor has arrived safely as well. If there is a medical emergency, most people in this room are certified in CPR. Linda Horn will call 911 and direct emergency responders to our location at 105 West Capitol Avenue. Becky Almaroth has volunteered to administer CPR, and Eric Schrader will assist if necessary. There is an AED in the hallway on this floor across from Conference Room 103, and Scott Kreutz will retrieve the AED in the event of a medical emergency. That concludes today's Safety Minute. Thank you. And to
Thank you.
answer your question, Employee Development does training.
Oh, that's a nice title. Next, I'd like to review a few procedural items. I want to remind everyone we have a public comment period, and we're pleased to offer this to every Missourian that wants to come before the commission to address an issue of concern. Any of you that would like to address the commission, please sign up before 10:30. A reminder that you'll have 5 minutes for public comment or 10 minutes per subject. In addition, we have an abstention process. There are commissioners that, because of land ownership or business interest, or lawyers may represent clients that may either have some relationship to a matter coming before the commission and may have a potential or actual conflict of interest to be considered on voted upon. The commission member will indicate if he or she chooses to abstain from voting or to recuse themselves from participating in discussion of an agenda item. If an agenda item is divisible by contract, call, project, or the like, the commissioner may specify that particular matter and then still vote on the remaining of the agenda items. This information is provided to the commission secretary by letter in advance of this meeting. The commission secretary will duly indicate these abstentions in the minutes. Madam Secretary, have these letters been prepared? Thank you. The first item of business on the agenda today is the meeting minutes of the regular meeting of April 6, 2022, and a special meeting on April 5th of 2022. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the minutes. Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next business item is the consideration of the items on the consent agenda. Does anyone need to remove any item for discussion later or abstain?
I move we approve the consent agenda. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So I serve as the chairman of the audit committee, and Commissioners Briscoe and Ecker also serve on the audit committee. I'll give the report today. There is no report. The next audit committee meeting will be held in June. Commissioners Briscoe and I serve as co-chairs on the legislative committee, and Commissioner Briscoe will give today's report. Commissioner Briscoe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The General Assembly is now in its last few days of the annual legislative session. This week, the legislature is debating the state's fiscal year 2023 budget, which has a deadline for passage on this Friday. Once truly agreed to and finally passed, the proposed budget will be sent to the governor for his consideration for signing into law. While we can't yet predict what legislative initiative will pass this session, we're hoping there will be limited to no problematic transportation-related proposals passed this session. Let's keep our fingers crossed for a positive end to this session. On the legislative front, the department has worked closely with the Hands-Free Missouri Coalition to advocate for hands-free legislation this session. While such a proposal is unlikely to pass with only 2 weeks remaining in the session, we are pleased with the progress we have achieved. This legislative priority achieved public hearings in both the House and the Senate, with the Senate proposal being voted out of committee and placed on the calendar for the first time. Discussion with legislators revealed that most legislators support reducing phone use while behind the wheel. This places us in good position to hit the ground running next session. During our June commission meeting, I'll have a more in-depth legislative report highlighting those proposals that passed or failed during the legislative session. This concludes the legislative committee report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Briscoe. Commissioner Smith serves as president of the MTFC, and Commissioner Waters and Commissioner Eckert are board members. Commissioner Smith has a report for us today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, the board met at 9 o'clock this morning, May 4th, and we approved one loan to the city of St. Peters totaling $7.5 million to construct additional ramps for the Route 370 and Salt River Road interchange. The board elected new officers and approved the fiscal year 2023 budget. And that's all we had this morning. So our next meeting is scheduled for August. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Smith, Boatwright, and I serve on the Uppers Board. Today, Commissioner Boatwright will provide a report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board met last Friday, April the 29th, for a strategic planning workshop. We worked through several items there. Our next board meeting is June the 16th, and I think we've got kind of a direction moving forward on the things we talked about Friday. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Boatwright. As chairman, I serve on the Missouri Coalition of Roadway Safety Executive Committee, and I'll provide a report for you today. We had an executive committee meeting last month, and we had a full agenda, including a lot of presentations and good discussion on highway safety issues facing our state. The commission also participated in a distracted driving awareness event held at the Capitol on April 6th. Last month's meeting that was over in the Rotunda. What a nice event that was. The event was organized by AAA and Hands-Free Missouri Coalition. I'd like to express our appreciation to both of these organizations for their support. I'd also like to thank Adrian Siddons and Stephanie Benning, who each gave courageous stories of distracted driving. So far in 2022, we have some good news. Fatalities are down 3% in Missouri, and the month of April experienced a 26% decrease compared to last year. We also have 47 counties that have experienced 0 fatalities so far this year. The counties are a promising reminder that we can and have days, weeks, and months in front of us with 0 fatalities. Finally, May is Motorcycle Awareness Month, probably because they get out of the garage then. As such, we want to remind everyone to put down their phones and look twice for the motorcycles. We encourage all cyclists riding to wear a helmet. And that concludes my report. Next item on the agenda is the MoDOT Director's Report. Patrick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, those that have joined us today, thanks for being here. Just wanted to give the commission an update. I currently serve as co-chair along with Dr. Marty Leathers from Missouri's Department of Higher Education on the Missouri Supply Chain Task Force. We're working as a group to gather public input and to study the issues related to supply chain issues, not only here in Missouri, but throughout the country. We've had 24 organizations have presented to the Supply Chain Task Force at 6 meetings held between January 20 and just a couple weeks ago. And we've held public meetings in Jefferson City, a couple times, St. Louis, Sikeston, Kansas City, and St. Joe. We're going to have a regional meeting held tomorrow in Hannibal. It will be one of our last public meetings. We're gathering and we're drafting a report. That report's due at the end of June. We're going to have this available for public comment, hopefully right at the beginning of June. We're in the drafting stage now, but we've had the public input that we've had kind of comes in about 4 categories that we've heard from industry and others. Kind of main themes: trucking issues, trained available workforce, first and last mile rail investment, and economic opportunities, things that we can be looking for. One of the highlights has been, in terms of the opportunities, has been looking at new technology along to really fully utilize the river system for efficient movement of goods. And there's container on vessel development going on. And I think Missouri is well positioned to make strategic investments. Very pleased to see what the General Assembly has brought forward in the budget. We're still working through. They're in conference today. But there was a forwarding of $50 million investment for ports, which we typically average for general revenue between 3 and 10 million a year. So this is a very significant potential investment. And some of that investment would be used to help develop the land side for container on vessel. This development's going on starting in Louisiana, and the idea is to create a faster, more efficient way to move goods up and down the inland waterways. The central part of the country is a perfect location for it. So we're pretty excited about some of the recommendations and the presentations we've heard. And I'm looking forward to getting that draft of the report out and for public comment. We certainly encourage anyone who wishes to make comment on that. We'll incorporate that into our final report that'll be presented to the governor at the end of June. So it's been a very interesting opportunity for us. I would say this is a very good timing for the governor's executive order because it coincides with our state rail and freight plan that is working its way through, and we hope to see some consistency there, but also some additional opportunities identified by the task force. So more to come on that, but I just wanted to give you a quick update. Also, last week I had the opportunity, along with our Chief Safety and Operations Officer, Becky Almaroth, and we also had Nicole Hood. We attended the AASHTO Safety Committee. It's an annual meeting. It's an honor to serve. I serve as the chair of that committee. And nationally, we're working on the issues that challenge every state, especially the increase in highway fatalities and driver distraction. Missouri's Buckle Up, Phone Down campaign continues to grow in support, and it's used by many other states, with nearly 20 states participating in some way or shape or form. Nicole Hood gave a fantastic presentation for our colleagues nationwide. It was great. We had officials from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, as well as Federal Highway, and several other federal partners were there. But NHTSA pointed out that they have taken up the Buckle Up, Phone Down campaign. They're actually piloting in a couple urban areas. They're picking them strategically, and they're doing some very sophisticated behavioral response studies associated with implementing these policies, and to see if it does influence behavior, safety behavior. We're trying to keep it simple with those simple acts. we've seen a difference in Missouri. We believe that it makes a difference nationwide. And NHTSA is doing the research to determine if they can then, with that research, actually invest in a nationwide campaign. So we're really excited about that. It's been a few years. We've been nipping at their heels, I would say, but in a very constructive way to help foster safety advancement nationwide. But designed and developed here in Missouri, it's kind of a proud moment to hear a federal partner say that they're really going to the effort to do their work to see if they can invest as well. But even despite that, with 20 other states doing some form of this campaign, we're having and making a difference nationwide. The other thing I just wanted to do is thank you for thanks to the commission members who were able to attend our Innovations Challenge in Columbia on April 14th. I'm not gonna go over it in great detail because Kelly Backus, who coordinated the entire event, her and her team is going to be giving a full report. But I just wanted to say, you know, every year it's amazing to us, and even coming out of the pandemic, you know, you look at have we lost some steam? Have we lost some things in terms of the innovation of our team and the work that we're doing? And I'm really pleased to say that we haven't. Our employees. And it doesn't matter if it's administrative or field-based employees, engineering, whatever the type of work that our teams do, they look for ways to do it better, more efficiently, and safer. And they continue to do that. And they're willing to take the risk to bring that idea forward, to be judged by their peers, and to see if they can advance the ball statewide, not just in their corner of the world. And I tell you, I hope everybody enjoyed it, but it's really, it continues to grow and advance. And we want to continue to invest in the innovations that are coming out of our employees to better the work product for the public and to make the work that we do safer for our team. So I'm thrilled to be a part of that and to witness just some fantastic work on the part of our MoDOT team. And we had other states there witnessing that as well, and that is spreading to other states also. We continue to do that and help, and any of those types of things, we try to work with our partners in other states to spread those safety innovations where we can. So just wanted to thank the commission again for your support of that and for your participation. I hope you gained from that as well, but our team really enjoys having you there to kind of pick apart their innovations and even, you know, pick them up for your own operations if it works for you. So, but thank you. That's that. And Mr. Chairman, that's my report.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Patrick, thanks for agreeing to serve as chair of the AASHTO Committee on Safety. We appreciate that. I know you spend a lot of hours doing other things beside MoDOT stuff, and we appreciate everything you do. I'm glad it was a productive meeting, and appreciate Nicole, and who else did you say? And Becky went with you. So we'll continue to support the efforts to decrease roadway fatalities. So buckle up, phone down. That's right. Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick, for your report. Next item on the agenda is a non-action item. This is a presentation by Matt Amick of the Missouri Soybean Association. Matt, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Good morning. So, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Director McKenna, thanks for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And thanks to Dustin Boatwright for the invitation to speak. As many of you are farmers or involved in the agricultural industry, you know that transportation infrastructure is critical for Missouri farmers. And Missouri Soybeans has been a consistent supporter of efforts to expand and make sure Missouri has a strong, efficient transportation network. For example, we were a partner in recent efforts to expand the motor fuel tax to improve infrastructure in the state. So we appreciate all the work you do at MoDOT and with the commission. Next slide, please. Oh, never mind, I got that. I can do that myself, can I? No, thank you. So Missouri Soybean, we're made up of two organizations, the Missouri Soybean Association and the Missouri Soybean Merchandising Council. We are a farmer-led organization. And one of the areas we work in is to open up opportunities to create efficient transportation systems to get soybeans from the field to the end user in the most efficient, safe, effective manner possible. And I appreciate Director McKenna's comments. This includes waterways infrastructure as well. very important, and some of the policies that affect waterways infrastructure, including advocating for efficient flood control and navigation on the river. You know, in Missouri, we're blessed with the river system, so about 30 to 40% of our soybeans are exported via the river, also rail and truck. So the river system is very important to us, as well as the highway transportation system. Recently, we were part of an effort to, with several other states, to secure funding to push for reconstruction of Lock and Dam 25 in Winfield. So that's it's the next lock up on the Mississippi. So that was very key. They've announced funding for that reconstruction of that lock. And we're involved in many state and national organizations that work on river infrastructure, as well as working with our other commodity groups, fellow agricultural commodity groups. So next slide, I have a few points of discussion today. My first point, I just wanted to thank the Commission and MoDOT for your continued support of biodiesel. Biodiesel is produced in the state of Missouri and supports soybean farmers and rural economies that help drive our state. This is more important now than ever, as using a Missouri-made fuel helps extend our fuel supply, as we've seen with the ongoing geopolitical issues pressuring supplies of petroleum across the world. Biodiesel is a fuel which can be utilized in any diesel engine, lower the maintenance of the engine once it's utilized. Additionally, biodiesel provides less greenhouse gas emissions for leading to cleaner air. So MoDOT has been using B20 for a long time, currently in the diesel fleet, typically during the warmer months of April to October. It's not required to be utilized during the rest of the year. This is a statutory requirement only. But it's possible some of the fleets are using biodiesel in some of those warmer months outside of April to October. So one of my asks today is that MoDOT consider using a blend of B5 in those months from November to March. It's basically the same specification as petroleum diesel. It's utilized year-round in colder climates. And the biodiesel of today is different from biodiesel 15 years, 20 years ago. It's a completely different fuel. We've started in the state of Missouri, so just something to consider, and I appreciate your consideration of that topic. The next topic of discussion, as I expand, Missouri soybean is a member of the Soy Transportation Coalition. STC is a coalition of 13 state soybean organizations committed to position soybean industry stakeholders to benefit from a transportation system that delivers cost-effective, reliable, and competitive service. So in your hands, or possibly in your packet of information, there's a report that STC recently released that showcased the top 20 innovations for rural bridge repair and replacement by MoDOT and several of the counties. The report is simply an effort to promote cost-effective approaches to replacing and repairing rural bridges without compromising safety. As you know, rural bridges can often serve as the initial link from the field to the overall supply chain. So allowing the farmers the ability to move soybeans from grain to field, both domestically and internationally, to customers. So current efforts, we've actually engaged with MoDOT on this topic. We're working with local public agency contacts amongst MoDOT and some of the engineers to disseminate this information. We're also working with the Missouri Association of Counties to share this information with county commissioners that could utilize these practices. So once again, you should also have a copy of that. And I urge you to share it with your contacts across the state. One example that I just want to share is railroad flat car bridges. A great way for counties and others to utilize a cost-effective approach. These are quick and easy to install and can support loads far in excess of legal limits. So this is, once again, it's a cost savings and something we're trying to promote as we expand our rural infrastructure to get soybeans from the field to market. Here's a photo of one such railroad flat car bridge in Iowa that was done in a partnership with the Soy Transportation Coalition. My final point that I want to share with you is I want to provide some awareness on some soy-based road products that are targeted in road-based applications. I'm not here, our goal isn't to sell you on anything, simply to promote and provide awareness to what is out there and what potentials are out there. These are soy-based alternatives that can be utilized to promote sustainability, worker safety, and support the farmers of the state. And many of these products are designed to extend the life of the road, which extends budgets, of course, which is very important. We're working with the testing lab at MoDOT to get some of these products on approved lists so they can be utilized at the state and county level for usage on projects if they aren't already, and then also do pilot projects thereafter. So just a couple examples. There's an asphalt sealant that's actually produced by a company here in Missouri, and we're currently working with MoDOT on a pilot project north of Columbia on Highway 63. They treated one lane on the northbound and southbound lanes. That was about June of 2021, so we're coming up on a year. I'm excited to see how that product is holding up and to share those results with all of you. Additionally, there are two asphalt rejuvenators that are soy-based that are on the market. Particularly, the one on the right has been laid down at the Center for Soy Innovation in Jefferson City. These can be used to treat recycled asphalt millings and then be repaved. Another example of a soy-based alternative product is a Pore Shield, which is a concrete, actually durability enhancer. This was founded in the state of Indiana, and it can, when applied, it can extend the life of the concrete, particularly on bridge decks, is one of the major applications. But you can use it on any sort of concrete. They're actually using it in livestock feed bunks as well. Dust suppressant is another example of a product that is available. Actually, it's not commercially available right now, but we hope it to be available in the near future, something that particularly rural counties can utilize. And then finally, soy-based tires. Goodyear has 4 lines of soy-based tires that can be used in passenger vehicles, and they actually plan to release a line of heavy-duty tires in the near future. For MoDOT fleet vehicles, this is a great option, and we hope that we can work with the department to utilize some of these practices. So just as a wrap-up, I just want to say thank you for all your efforts on behalf of Missouri soybean farmers to support transportation infrastructure improvements, both on land and in the water. Thank you for your support of biodiesel. Let's use more. We look forward to working with MoDOT to disseminate information on the rural bridge replacement and repair project. And we look forward to working with MoDOT on using some of these soy-based alternatives that support the farmers across the state and support the ag supply chain. And that is all I have for today. I really appreciate the opportunity, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have about those topics or any others.
Any
Thank
questions
you.
for Matt?
Now, when will this dust suppressant be out?
So they had to go back. It was actually available, and they had to go back and reformulate the ingredient list. So it to be determined. I know that when in talking with rural public works departments or any public works department, that actually is a very attractive option, the dust suppressant. And when I present this suite of products, they're very interested in the dust suppressant. So,
Mr. Chairman, thanks for the good presentation, Matt. And I was on the Merchandising Council back in the 90s, and it's exciting to see the money that we spent from the checkoff doing research clear back then is now finally proving or providing products that we can use in our everyday lives. So thanks for the update.
yeah, absolutely.
I thought the rail cars bridges was interesting. Have we looked into that or?
Mostly counties utilize that technology. It's allowable.
Do we know any counties that have used that in Missouri yet?
Yeah, there's been several.
Has-
Southeast,
Right.
Good.
down in the southeast corner of the state, they use quite often.
It looks like a glue lamp, is it?
So,
Is it a glue lamp?
no, it's the flatbed rail car. They basically just put them on concrete piers. Take the wheels off the rail car, put them on a concrete pier and make a bridge out of it.
Whoa.
And then the soy-based tires I thought was pretty cool too. How are they priced? Cheaper, more or less?
It depends on the market, but for instance, I'm just going to give you an example. Cole County Sheriff's Department uses tires, and I think they're cost effective related to the other tires that they typically utilize. So I can't say from a region to region, but I think typically Goodyear brings tires out of St. Louis, and that's.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
I might add one thing. You didn't mention it, but for those that don't know, the money that's generated to do these type of projects is done by the soybean farmer. For every soybean bushel that we sell, 0.5% goes into a checkoff program that funds all this type of research. So like in
Yes.
Missouri, the money that's produced from soybean farmers like Tom and I, half the money stays in the state to do projects, and then the other half goes to the national checkoff to do more projects. So
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
self-funded deal that the farmers are paying for. So
Absolutely. Yes.
That's great. I'd just add that we appreciate your support. And actually, 100 years ago, we used to report to you, the Department of Agriculture. And that's how we got in business, is
All right.
building those
All
roads
right.
for you guys. And the question I had, Ed, what is the theory behind the stuff we're putting up on 63? Is it like a water retardant that's increasing the life, or is it rejuvenating the asphalt? What's it doing?
Yeah, it's a sealant that I think penetrates the surface. I'm not an engineer, by the way. Penetrates the surface and essentially keeps any unwanted water or whatever it might be to penetrate the surface of the road and really extend the life, protect the road for long-term usage.
Is it little bean pieces in there that are?
It's actually just a spray, and it actually has a citrus scent, which is quite pleasant. Actually,
Let's try some of that on Highway F. Patrick.
You know, I thank you for your presentation. Really, really interesting. We have and are developing even further partnership. One of the things Ed Hassinger really piloted for us and kept rolling, but the Missouri Center for Transportation Innovation. I think this is a perfect partnership for the Center for Soy Innovation. Their primary research, Missouri-based practical applications, all of the things I think both groups favor. I think that's a potential real win, and we should connect those two groups and see what happens.
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
I'll follow up on
absolutely.
that. Yep.
Terrific.
So Matt, thank you for being here. In a state where our GDP is driven by agriculture, I mean, it's no surprise how important the work that your organization does and many others do throughout the state is to the state of Missouri. One of the things that it's come to light in my time on the commission is taking our commodities from field to grain bin or from field to market, capturing that tonnage. There's not a great way to do that. In a state that our economy is driven by agriculture, and certainly from the transportation infrastructure standpoint, it's very important that we capture that tonnage. And I don't know exactly the way to do that, but that conversation really within soybean, within corn, within rice, Farm Bureau, that conversation needs to be had on how we capture that tonnage. There's several different ideas floating around out there. With the crop insurance program, we pretty much know the yields in different places.
Mm-hmm.
We know what's getting exported. We know what's being used in the local markets. So working with our staff at MoDOT and working within those organizations to figure out a way to capture that tonnage, I think is very important to the state of Missouri long term. So just want to put that on your radar. But thank you for the presentation.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it.
I appreciate that. And we've really tried to narrow in, like, using GIS to identify kind of how the movement and the flow of grain across the state. And we can follow up on that and see if we can try and devise some sort of system to capture that in better, more accurate way.
Thanks, Matt. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is an action item. We have Travis Kester, State Design Engineer, is going to present bids for our consideration, but he's not here, so we have Mr. Voss.
Good morning, Chairman, fellow commissioners, and Director McKenna. I'm here to recommend award and rejection of bids. For the April 15, 2020 bid opening, MoDOT received 79 bids on 32 calls. We recommend the following to you today: to award all calls to the lowest responsive bidder, except for call B01 located in the Northeast District and H01 located in the Southeast District. We recommend rejection of call B01 and H01 due to the excessive bids per section 102.15A of the Missouri Standards Specifications for Highway Construction. We also recommend the bids for Frontenberger Concreters Incorporated for calls H02 and 809 be declared non-responsive for Section 102.2 of the Missouri Standard Specifications and Highway Transportation or Highway Construction. These are our recommendations for you today. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Any questions?
I move the recommendation be accepted.
Second.
Been moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Appears to have carried. Thank you. Do you have a budget update?
Yes, I do. So today's awards are for a total of $114.8 million, which is $43.4 million over our budget. Today's awards also result in state fiscal year 2022 awards to date of $1.2 billion, which is a cost of 10.8% or $121 million over the budget on $1.1 billion worth of work.
Thank you. It's amazing that we're only 10% over given the economy. And it's really amazing we're doing $1.2 billion worth of work for the state.
Yeah, it's exciting to have that much work and
Yeah,
the
it is.
opportunities are out
Yeah.
there. So
Thank you. Any other comments? None?
I just thought, I wanted to thank you again and just say, great progress on the totals and everything. That's terrific.
all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a non-action item. Eric Curtis, Transportation Planning Director, will present our 23 to 27 draft statewide transportation improvement program. Eric?
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Director McKenna, Eric Curdy here again for the largest STIP in MoDOT's history. It's pretty exciting stuff. As you know, STIP is our 5-year work program to make commitments about what projects will be delivered over the next 5 years, how we're going to improve the system. The 23 to 27 STIP is developed in unison with the financial forecast and the operating budget, and it represents contractor awards, not payments. The budget represents the payouts, and the STIP represents the awards that we anticipate. So the STIP is a great list of projects. It is a great list of projects. We've never seen anything like this, but it is still done in the same framework that we've used always, the planning framework that encompasses all the planning partners around the state. This map depicts the 19 RPCs and the 9 MPOs that we work with that are comprised of locally elected officials that we use in our planning framework process through a bottom-up decision-making process. Throughout the state, directly involved are about 1,200 elected officials and public works directors and the like that help us select projects and needs that we might, contemplate to do with the available resources we have. So we really go to the local level. Just like politics, transportation is local. They know best. 9 times out of 10, these folks know they would pick the same thing we would. So we engage them in our planning framework process to develop the STIP. And it's very important to get that buy-in and have folks support it as we develop the STIP. 2023, the road and bridge section of the STIP is about 64% of it. The operations and maintenance component is about 22%. The local public program or local and other programs represent about 9%, and the multimodal program represents about 5%. On top of this, there's about $250 million for designing roads and bridges. That includes things like right-of-way, design work, payments, and to come up with the total of $1.887 billion in 23. That is just SFY 23. Local funds, too, they pass through is about 15% of the total federal funds, and includes things like BRO, the TAP funds, CMAQ funds, highway rail crossing, things like that. Multimodals program, as you saw, was $132 million. This slide depicts what we believe we have available for contractor awards. The financial forecast we presented to you in January totals over the life of the STIP about $7.65 billion for awards. From this forecast, then we develop targets, give them to our districts, and they work with those planning partners I mentioned all over the state to develop the best list of program or the best program we can get for the dollars that we have. The result of that work is 767 new projects in the added to this STIP totaling $3.3 billion. Key component of all this STIP, as reflective of Missourians' needs and wants and desires for their transportation system, is to focus on asset management, of taking care of what we have prior to expanding the system. We have a large system to take care of, 34,000 miles of roads. And in this current STIP, it's about 74% asset management still, with the expansion of that, increased revenues both from the state and federal government. 34,000 miles of road, nearly 10,000, approximately 10,400 bridges, depending on what day it is. And a big component of this is the major highway system you see there on the left. It's our major highways and the interstates. It's about 5,500 centerline miles of roads, carries 76% of all the travel on MoDOT system, and about 91% of them are in good condition. On the right is the minor route system. We divide it in for asset management. We kind of take care of them in categories. There's about 28,000 remaining after the major system. The minor roads is 17,500 miles and carries about 22% of traffic on our system and is in 81% good condition. Then there's the low volume roads, other low volume minor roads. They are, I'm sorry, missing a page. They're 11,000 miles, represents 32% of the entire system and carry about 2% of travel on our system. Typically, STIP funds aren't used for this. The low volume system, our operation forces typically take care of those, and that's what those funds represent. You see in the STIP related to the work program for them. At the current funding levels, we project that we can maintain the system goals of 90% good of major bridges, 80% of minors, and 70% of low volume roads. When I mentioned that we don't typically use STIP dollars on low volume roads, you all gave us the direction to address the disparity of low volume roads around the state. The Northwest District has a good condition of low volume roads at 53, all the way to the other end of the spectrum in the Southeast at 84%. And that disparity kind of gives a different level of service to our users, and we wanted to address that. And through your direction, we've been able to create this asset management deficit program. What you see here is the totals. It's just shy of about $128 million so far that we've programmed both in what we call M jobs, those operation type jobs, and the STIP jobs directed at improving those conditions. To look at asset management versus the capital improvement, this looks at the first 3 years of the STIP. And for comparison purposes, I put up the 22 and the 23 STIP. In the last STIP we had about 84% of the STIP was in asset management. Now it's at 74%. Capital improvements, system expansion type jobs went from 8 to 20. Those are those different little jobs, JSPs, ITS jobs, different jobs like that encompass about 6% now of the total STIP. Do you want to break down in pavement and bridges? You look at the last STIP to compare to the new. I draw your attention to the major bridge. It says that in the current STIP, there's 94 jobs on major bridges. We're only replacing 5, but there's 94 major bridges being touched by this STIP is what that figure is. And you can see how the increase in revenues has resulted in an increased investment of infrastructure, which we're very pleased to see. So we take that funding distribution based off that target, we put it into your allocation formula, and this is kind of how it cascades down. We had total distributed funds in FY23, just the first year for an example, of about $1.36 billion, $58 million to safety. The asset management number of $756 million, about $150 million of that goes to major bridge. The rest goes to the rest of the system, typical bridges, leaving and it cascades down to $555 million in system improvements. Also in the STIP are maintenance and operations work plans. This is a map. We'll include this kind of illustrating what our operations staff is able to do for our system to maintain and improve it throughout the state. good old Turtle District. The Central District is depicted here. He looks like a turtle, doesn't he? That's a very important part of our work is to make sure that maintenance and operations are also maintaining and improving the system. So again, Michelle's here. She appreciates the turtle. 767 new projects. 707 of them are asset management, 30-year system improvement. We do have some projects deleted, but they're usually either for consent of the public, work being incorporated through other jobs, or we had a root job that was split, so the root job is gone. So there was 24 out of the 724 jobs were deleted from the 22 to 26 STIP. Multimodal, another component of our STIP, we had 48 projects added. You can see the breakdown there, and 4 projects deleted under the same criteria as the rest of the STIP. And I'm going to turn it over to Eric for what we're going to do next.
So typically at this point, we would be showing you the complete draft and asking for permission to put it out for public comment and start that process. But one of the things that also goes on with the STIP and one of the final actions that's required is that it is certified by the director. So there's a statement included in the STIP where basically the director certifies that we comply with all state and federal laws and that this accurately reflects our anticipated revenue over this time. Basically that we have to have a balanced budget. I know it's a little bit ironic to have a regulation from the federal government that you have to have a balanced budget, but we do. Now, with all the initiatives that are still in play in the legislature, from fuel tax holidays to fuel tax suspension to fuel tax repeal, for the next 2 weeks, I can't ask the director to sign and certify the STIP. If that were to change in the next 2 weeks, we would have to pull it back because it would no longer be accurate or true. So we're going to ask to wait on releasing the draft. We're ready to roll. Eric's team and the state the planners have done great work. But we really need to wait for the legislative session to end to see if any of those things that would impact the funds available for this STIP come about. So our STIP that we release accurately reflects the revenue that we'll have over the time period of the STIP. So this is a little different than normal. That's why this isn't an action item. It's an update in where we're at. But hopefully we finish up the legislative session and the funding stays the same. We will turn right around next week, right after the session, and release a draft for public comment and be able to stay somewhat on our same schedule that in July we would bring you those public comments and seek final approval. Be happy to handle any questions or comments you may have, or if the director would like to add to that.
Questions for Eric?
Mr. Chairman, if I could add a little bit, I appreciate that. This is a little out of our typical sequence, but I think it's appropriate to do so. You know, as you're aware, because of all the work we did at the national level, because of all the work we did identifying unfunded needs around the state, we were ready when revenues became available from the gas tax here in Missouri, SB 262, and the federal action that occurred in November. And we put a financial forecast in place that was very aggressive along the lines of those revenues. And we laid out everything. As we've reported in the last few months, the Reason Foundation has seen Missouri DOT as the best in the country at putting out capital projects relative to their budget. And here's why. Because we estimate the resources and we put it all in play. And we do that over a multi-year period. So we anticipated federal resources. We have some of that baked into our current plan. And we anticipate that we were going to be having the state resources that were added by SB 262 all in play here. And we have put them all in play and been very aggressive in terms of programming the STIP. We don't want to put a final document out or a draft document out that would elevate expectations from communities. If in fact we had to roll back, for instance, a gas tax holiday, pulling say $350 million out of the state side of the money could also impact our plans for borrowing funds in this coming year, could also impact the amount of federal funds that we would draw down, could have a multi-billion-dollar impact on this plan. So I think it's wise to hold hold off for a couple weeks, make sure that that the policymakers who are working hard to defend and protect the resources that were made available by the last legislative session remain in our plan. And as soon as that's known, we will bring this forward for action to put out for public comment, and hopefully by then stay on track and have a final document for you to approve in July at the July meeting. So that's why this is a little bit different. And Eric's right. I wouldn't have certified this document until we're done. So,
Any other comments?
Just a comment on my short tenure on the commission here. The approval of STIP's one of the most important decisions that we do, and it just shows our commitment to the taxpayers, what we're going to do with their money. And it's a great thing. So
That's why we want to be very careful when we release the draft. That
so we look forward to seeing the draft soon.
Eric, this is really exciting for me. I mean,
oh yeah,
when a few years ago, when I got a call from the governor's office asking me to serve on the commission, I turned around and called my wife and said, "Governor wants me to serve on the highway commission." She said, "Don't do it." She said she was the day before she had been at a Farm Bureau meeting, and Steve Miller had given a presentation to Farm Bureau about how dire things were at MoDOT with a $325 million budget, and to go from that to $1.887, $1.9 billion budget in that relatively short time frame is amazing. And so it's so fun to see numbers like these and projects like these when it wasn't that long ago we were talking about 0 new projects. And so we're moving forward and we're doing great things, and it's because of people like you guys. So thanks.
thank
And
you.
we're glad you kicked in too.
You need to give Steve a call.
She told me no, and I've been paying for it ever since.
Jeremy, Commissioner, you need to give Steve a call when we get down here.
Yeah.
When you have a long time to talk. Any other comments? Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
All right, our next item on the agenda is a non-action item. Kelly Backus, Transportation Planning Specialist, is going to present about the Innovations Challenge Showcase. Get ready. This is really cool. I was there.
Well, thank you. Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, and Director McKenna. I'm Kelly Backus. I work for the Transportation Planning Division. I'm the statewide coordinator for the Innovations Challenge. I'm going to give you a quick overview of our program, but then also share some exciting things about our in-person showcase that we had. So as you know, this was an idea developed in 2005 to generate innovative ways of doing business, saving money, and making things safer for our employees and Missourians. And since then, it emerged into a tool and equipment challenge. 5 years later, we added a couple categories, and it was rebranded as the Innovations Challenge. The program has been refined throughout the years, but two things that remain consistent are the creativity and the ingenuity of our MoDOT staff. Our competition has 3 categories: productivity, projects, and tool and equipment. Innovation submissions are evaluated on the following criteria: originality, how well it improves safety, our internal and our external performances, and conserving MoDOT's resources. Ooh. Wrong button. There it is. Thank you. Okay, so driving forces behind this program are really our local coordinators. They do an awesome job promoting the competition and delivering the successful program. Showcase participants also spend many hours. They work on their displays and their presentation materials and their pitches to prepare them for the big day in April and hopefully taking home a win. At Showcase, we recognize 4 winners in each category and 3 Directors Award winners. Those winners receive cash prizes, and category winners receive an extra amount of money in their budgets to purchase items that will make their jobs safer and easier. And finally, we have the Dixon People's Choice Award winner, and it's presented with a traveling trophy, and it earns bragging rights for the whole year. Now that I've given you a quick overview of the challenge itself, I will tell you a little about this year's showcase. This showcase brought back the much-needed employee interaction and camaraderie. The excitement in the room was a very welcomed change based on the last 2 years. We also had the showcase in a central location this year in Columbia, and it allowed more employees to see firsthand the innovations that they can take back to their own work areas. And roughly, we had about 400 people attend, toured the showcase this year. Another exciting piece to this year was sharing our success with visitors from Indiana and Illinois. Todd May from Indiana shared these comments with me after the showcase. I wanted to reach out and thank you and your team for your hospitality and including us in the showcase. Please share with your team and certainly with Ed our thanks. You all are great role models for what innovation can be and certainly set the bar very high. So showcase winners will be featured this week in a special edition of Connections, but I'm going to share some sneak peeks with you today on the top winners that we had. So first place in productivity was Maintenance Management System Work Plan Progress and Budget from Maintenance Division. This module of MMS allows districts to plan 3 years of maintenance activities in advance and monitor plans progress from draft to submittal. The work plan also helps increase the amount of work submitted for reimbursement. The Northeast District's Simple for Dead Continuous for Live Bridge Design methodology took home the top spot in projects. This steel design methodology has many advantages, including the lower initial construction costs, reduced life cycle costs, easier inspections, and reduced maintenance. The tool and equipment first place winner was Blade Saver from the Central District. This measuring device saves money by extending the life cycle of the blade and increases safety by allowing employees to check the blade from a safe distance without crawling under and around a snowplow. The Director's Safety Award went to Rotating Herbicide Rack from Southeast District. This rack holds 6 herbicide totes that rotate downward to dispense the herbicide. The locked containers are fastened to a bar, which makes cargo securement safe and easy. And next, this year's Director Service Award was presented to 2 innovations for the first time. Both of those were from the St. Louis District. They are the Continuous Flight Auger Tangent Retaining Wall and the Displaced Left Turn innovation. Together, these innovations caught the eye of Director McKenna because collectively, they greatly reduced traffic congestion at the interchange of highways 141 and 364. As part of the design development, construction of a displaced left turn ramp was chosen. Due to sandy soil at the construction site, the CFA tangent retaining wall with soil nails provided the stability to construct the additional lane. The Director's Stability Award went to the Transportation Planning Division for Virtual Showcase. A virtual website was designed last year so all employees could view innovations with the click of their mouse. And as part of this innovation, a live virtual showcase was conducted last year where participants pitched their innovations directly to a panel of judges. The Dixon's People Choice winner went to the Southwest District for their tire steps innovation. The tire steps provide easier access to the front of the truck, under the hood, and to the windshield to increase employee safety while performing maintenance on the equipment. Up next, you'll see a quick video of this year's showcase.
My name is Andrew Turner. I'm roadside manager with Southeast District, and the innovation we have here is our rotating herbicide rack. We needed to be able to transport our pre-mixed slurries in an upright and sealed position, but then whenever we get out to the job site, be able to quickly and easily access those. So we came up with this rack so that we don't have to handle the herbicide near as often, and it keeps it up and out of the way for us. So whenever we get to the job site, we're able to pull 2 pins and the whole assembly will rotate down. Then we're able to easily go up and in the same fashion as the soda machine, dispense out whatever premix herbicide to transfer over into our spray rigs.
This allowed the south intersection for that left turn movement to northbound 141 to be pushed to the north side of the interchange and to occur at the same time as the westbound Missouri 364 left turn movement to southbound 141. As part of this job, we needed to construct a retaining wall between the western abutment of the bridge over 141 and the southbound lanes of 141.
The displaced left turn lane, and that's our innovation. And basically what that does is it takes that eastbound to northbound left turn movement, it has it go, builds a new contraflow lane to go the wrong direction, if you will, up to this north intersection. And then at this intersection, both left turn movements at the interchange will happen at this north intersection. And what that does is that removes that left at the south intersection. So now the only time that northbound 141 will have to stop is when southbound to eastbound left is being made.
Innovation Showcase is an option that we have readily available to anybody to view. So MODA has been hosting an in-person showcase for 15 years. And during COVID, that wasn't an option. So we wanted to find a way to best show the innovations we've been working on. So on MODA's external website, we have all the innovations from last year and this year out there. So that includes a video, a short write-up, and contact information. So if you see another district or division that has information that you find interesting, you're able to go out and view it. So it's easily searchable, it has all the information out there, and anybody can go view it. It's not just people who are invited to showcase. You can be from a division or a DOT or an external person to come and view it. So it's easily accessible and user-friendly.
Our employee is adding oil. And you can see right there, he could have spilt it all over himself, and holding it up over your head is really not safe either. You can't tell how much oil is in there. And it's really tough straining, reaching up, trying to clean the windshield. He can really only get a little bit of it. And without climbing up on the tire, have a hard time reaching it. So we come up with this tire steps. Snug it on the tire. Has a railing right there you can use for 3 points of contact, climb up, and you can also climb up on the tire too. Right there, the oil can is eye level, so he can see and make sure it's level and see how much oil is in there. He's also able to reach the middle of the windshield to clean it.
Before closing, I'd like to share some information about implementing. Recently, the Maintenance Division staff created an app for district employees to use to order supplies and materials they may need to implement some tool and equipment innovations from previous years. And in the upcoming months, those innovations, this year's showcase innovations, will be added. To keep innovation on employee minds year-round. We'll soon be featuring a few innovations each week in our internal weekly news. We think keeping that in front of people will, help generate implementation. And if they, they're going to have some contact information and be able to contact some innovators. So hoping that works well. And lastly, we do have an initiative to push productivity and project innovations throughout the state, and that's in the works. In closing, the success of our program, as you know, has put us in the national spotlight for many years. It's being duplicated in other DOTs. I have other DOTs contacting me for ideas, and obviously we have some visitors at Showcase. So on behalf of all of MoDOT, I want to thank each of you for your support and your continued support in making this program a success. So I will take any questions.
Thank you, Kelly. Any questions for Kelly? She deserves it.
Kelly, it was a great event. I really enjoyed it. I think I made it around to all the displays and the different projects and things people have done. But my only complaint is you only let the commissioners vote on one, people's choice. And I thought we should have had at least 10 votes that we could have used. But having it located in Columbia for the first time, I thought was great. It's more centrally located, and the Hurd Center worked really well for it. So you did a fantastic job putting it all together. So
Thanks.
Congratulations on a successful event. It's really
Thanks.
great.
And we do plan to keep it local if we can do that. So
Yeah.
that's the plan.
Any other comments? Patrick?
I'd really like to thank Kelly for, that award that went for the virtual showcase is actually Kelly and her team really kept this rolling. This is one of those things that could have started to fail during the pandemic. It's just one of those that it's tough to sustain when you're not in person. And creating that virtual showcase, it actually enhanced, I think, everybody's view of what the innovations were, because that virtual piece is still with us and moving forward. You have the video presentations. You can go onto the website and look at those. So I think more people across the state were able to benefit from the innovations of their coworkers from different regions. And so sustaining it during the pandemic, creating that virtual showcase, and then bringing it back in person, that was really quite a feat. And Kelly and her team did a great job, and that's why they received that director's award there to keep it going. And this saves taxpayers money and makes our team safer, and that's really the intention behind the whole thing. It's just great to see the creativity of people at every level of the department, how excited they get to bring good ideas forward and to see them implemented. So your support and budget support and otherwise sustains this, but it's the team that really gets it done. So thanks, Kelly, for what you've done here.
Thank
you, Kelly. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a non-action item. Beth Ring, Information Systems Director, and Jason Volkart, Assistant, is going to give us a presentation on cybersecurity.
Good morning, Chairman Brinkman, Commissioners, Director McKenna. Thank you very much for having us here today to talk about cybersecurity. The last time you invited us here to talk about this topic was almost 7 years ago. And in preparation for this discussion, I went back and looked at the PowerPoint presentation. And I thought it was really interesting that I felt compelled at the time to spend most of my allotted time talking about why this was an important issue, why we needed to be concerned, and why we needed to continue to dedicate resources. You fast forward 7 years, we don't have to do that anymore. This topic is front and center, especially with everything that's going on in the world. And I think that you would be hard pressed to find anyone that doesn't know enough about this to be at least a little bit scared. In the time that I have been in information systems, I can look you in the eye and tell you that we have done everything that we thought we needed to do to mitigate the risk. But with a complicated issue like this, oftentimes what you don't know is what you don't know. And in that theory, we chose to create a cybersecurity officer position a couple of years ago. And we were really lucky when we were able to hire Jason Volkart into this job. Jason came to us with over 20 years of Missouri state experience. Oops, I forgot my And immediately began to perform an assessment of our cyber position. And from that assessment, he created a prioritized list of action steps and immediately began to implement those steps. In the short amount of time that he's been here, we have promoted him into the role of Assistant Information Systems Director. And at this point, I'm really pleased to introduce Jason Volkart to you and turn the podium over to him so he can talk about what we're doing to protect the organization and what we plan to do going forward. So, Jason.
Chairman Brinkman, Commissioners, Director McKenna, thank you for having us here today to talk about cybersecurity. If your cybersecurity is in the news, chances are it's not good. The two major concerns we have with breach are loss of data and ransomware. Now, nobody wants their name in the papers for loss of data, but even worse is ransomware. Now, ransomware is when a criminal, usually an organization, gains access to your network and your systems, and then they encrypt your data and demand you pay a fee to give you the keys to decrypt it. In 2021, we saw many high-profile attacks across the country and really across the world. Just 6 groups are responsible for breaching the defenses of 292 organizations and holding them ransom for $45 million. Probably the most high-profile attack you see up there, and that you've probably heard of, was the Colonial Pipeline. Hackers got in through a compromised user account and password, and then held them for ransom for $4.4 million. They ended up paying it. They took their systems offline, and fortunately, the FBI was able to recover most of that. To give you an idea of the growth in cyber breaches and data lost, in 2020, there were more records compromised in 12 months than the previous 15 years combined. Over 100 million records lost. And though MoDOT has not fallen victim to ransomware, we have seen our fair share of attacks along with the rest of the state. A few statistics here. At a statewide level, the Office of Cybersecurity, through the Office of Administration, blocked 2.2 billion hits on their firewall just in the month of March. Our security officer at MoDOT Security Office has investigated more than 75 events this fiscal year. In FY23, quarter 3, our email system blocked more than 4,700 known malicious emails that include attachments and links. Unfortunately, this is our greatest concern we live with these days. Given the threat landscape, our focus can be broken down into 3 key categories: people, places, and assets. And I feel it's important to point out that our cybersecurity efforts reflect that of the MoDOT core values. The first is safety. The very definition of security is the state of being free from danger or threat. You can almost just swap the word safety in there. Second is service. We have an accountability for safeguarding our assets and providing quality service. And third, of course, stability. That's ensuring our technical resources, which is our infrastructure and our data, is there for our users and has the stability to endure. You know, every section in IS has a responsibility to play in cybersecurity, and really every user in MoDOT has a responsibility to play. So who are our people? Well, first and foremost, it's our employees. We also have a responsibility to our business partners to help MoDOT do the job that we do. And lastly, we have a responsibility to those who consume our public information, whether that be like something tangible like the traveler information map, or they just trust the signs and the signals on the roadways. So let's look at some of the methods that we're using to safeguard our users. First thing you see up there is strong passwords. In 2020, we undertook an effort to have all of our users change from a minimum 8-character password to 12. The time to brute force crack and attack a password is just exponentially compounded. Next thing is multi-factor authentication, or MFA for short. This is the combination of using more than one criteria of what you know, what you have, and what you are. Microsoft states that security posture around authentication is improved by 99% when you go just past a single factor. We started this in August of last year around our Office 365 accounts in the cloud and have completed that project. And then we also put a lot of focus around education, whether this be through Stand Up for Safety Day. We do this through tech tips. We can occasionally send out tech tips on how to be aware of threats, and also leverage Mode.IU and LinkedIn Learning as well. Our organization has truly been so cooperative with all these measures and understand the why behind doing it. So places. You know, for years, we've taken efforts to keep our physical buildings and networks free of threat. The problem we face is that our workplace is always evolving. 40% of our workforce is in the field, And now large numbers of users are starting to work from home. Not only that, but we're also making a shift from desktops for users over to laptops. So let's look at some of the tools that we're using here. Threat awareness tools. We've moved our email threat awareness tools to the source in the cloud. And basically what this allows us to do is capture incoming emails that look malicious, sandbox them right there in the cloud, and test to make sure they're safe before sending on. We also closely monitor country of origin and deny high-risk countries. That's very relevant these days, given everything that's happening in Ukraine and Russia. Now, everybody's entitled to their vacation in Mexico, and you'd be surprised the number of people that feel it necessary to check their email while they're on the beach. So we continue to leverage secure virtual private networks and virtual desktops and channel all this through a single communication source. And that's very important because we rely heavily on our partners over at the Office of Administration, Office of Cybersecurity, and the tools that they can provide. They provide us with firewall services, intrusion prevention, endpoint detection and response, crowdsourced penetration testing, as well as content filtering. It's a real valued partnership that we share with all state agencies. And third was our assets. So what does that include? Well, for starters, data. Data is probably our greatest technical asset. We also have equipment. And this is more than just your standard desktops and laptops and some of the tablets I see here. This includes the Internet of Things, the IoT, things like phones, cameras, traffic signals, sensors. All of these things total more than 18,000 devices on our MoDOT network. And last but not least is our application and code. We invest heavily in the applications that our people use. So how are we safeguarding our data? Well, we love our acronyms in IT as well as MoDOT. So you see AIP and DLP. AIP is Azure Information Protection, and we use that to just control the permissions on all of our files, even if they are to leave our organization. It's something we're beginning to roll out now with our Office 365. Couple that with DLP, data loss prevention. That prevents personal information from leaving via email. Patching. Now, this can be quite a nuisance to our users, but we have to constantly stay on top of our operating system and our software titles just to kind of keep up with all the risks that's around those and the security concerns. Mobile device management. Our team is expanding that. For years, we've focused that around the iPhone. Now we're starting to incorporate that onto the desktops and laptops, and that's just going to give us greater insight and control on what can be installed and the sorts there. And lastly is our application scanning. Our development team does a tremendous job using software to identify vulnerabilities within the applications. It generates a score based on the number of flaws and the severity of those flaws. And I've worked with a lot of state agencies over the years, and MoDOT scores stack up extremely well against those agencies, with most of those being in the 90 percentile. So how do we move IT forward and keep up with the changing landscape? Well, it's a constant journey, a battle, if you will. You know, we're doing a lot of good in a lot of areas, but we know there's areas that we can improve upon. So one of the things we plan to do in this next fiscal year is an external security assessment. We're looking to identify where someone else may see where our gaps may be. We expect to see things around building out policies and procedures, maybe encrypting data at rest or encrypting our endpoint devices, and actually even just identify that IoT that I spoke of and really have better oversight on that on our network. So, and just as the cyber landscape is ever changing, our path forward will subsequently have to change. So I'd like to just thank the executive leadership team and for their encouragement in cybersecurity. Just as I mentioned earlier, none of this would be possible without our qualified staff and our partners throughout the state enforcing cybersecurity. So I'd like to open it up for any questions you may have.
Thank you. That's cool. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Thank you, Beth and Jason, for that. Wonderful report, kind of scary, but you know, I wasn't here like my right next to me. I wasn't here 7 years ago, so it's interesting to hear everything that's going on and knowing what's going on, because you know, just take it for granted. We don't really think about it a lot. But Jason, I have to ask, with all these things that are going on, when do you find time to sleep?
We have a really good security officer as well, and every team that we have in IS has their part. Like I said, it's really impressive how we all work together. So.
Thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks for the report.
Thank you.
I have a question. Is Fly Like an Eagle, is that an available password? I'm might nobly borrow that. I know very little about cybersecurity, but do we ever hire hackers to try to get in?
That's actually what I mentioned there. The Office of Cybersecurity uses crowdsourced penetration testing. They have a company that I call it ethical hacking, where they go ahead and try and breach our apps. And we've had several instances where they've identified holes in our apps. They send us how to remediate it, and we take the appropriate action and fix them. They don't steal the data. They don't do any harm. They just let us know, and they get paid on the back end by OA on the bounties.
That's amazing. They get paid a lot.
Some of them can. It depends on the severity of that flaw, but absolutely.
That's cool. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman. I was here for the last one, but I think we need to do it more often than 7 years, and maybe put it on some rotation of the schedule for the commission so that we're continually updated on what's going on, because this is not going to get less important. It's going to get more important. So,
absolutely.
And we're going to have a changeover in commissioners before long, and the new guys will need to hear it too. So I'd like to see us put it on some kind of rotation.
Fantastic. I hope to be around.
Thank you. Next item is a public comment period. Members of the public who did not schedule a presentation before the commission may speak to the commission on transportation-related issues, having signed at a registration desk by 10:30. The comments are limited to 5 minutes per person, 10 minutes per topic. Madam Secretary, do we have anyone signed up for public comment? Mr. Arnie Dynoff. Mr. Dynoff.
Yes, sir.
We've had the pleasure of hearing from you numerous times, and we're happy to provide this for you, but you've been less than respectful of our time constraints. Could you try to keep your comments within those constraints today?
How do I comment to that, or how do I react to that? I'm going to be respectful and professional to you, but there's a lot of rift between this commission, between the governor's office and the Missouri House of Representatives and Senate. So I'm going to follow the Constitution. I have the floor for 5 minutes. I'm going to say my facts, my information to the commission. I don't appreciate being interrupted or disrespected. I have a lot of valuable and factual information to provide for the record and for Missourians to hear, along with you as appointed officials.
Please proceed.
Thank you. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dynoff, State Public Advocate, also running for County Executive of St. Charles County, my home county, which is where Mr. Brinkman resides. I have been cut off from remote testimony, but yet this commission and this department have received hundreds of millions of dollars in COVID funds, CARE Act funds, and reinvestment funds to invest in technology and to bring government to the people of Missouri. The Missouri Transportation Finance Corporation had a meeting this morning at 9 o'clock. I didn't come because there's no public testimony slot on that agenda and no public testimony provided to the public. It's bad public leadership and bad governance. Disenfranchises Missouri's 6 million residents, sends a message to our Missouri residents that you just do not care what we have to say. On this morning's agenda, $7.5 million to the city of St. Peters with no disclosure of documents or the supporting meeting packet, which I've been begging you for over 2 years to provide to Missourians. You still drag your feet and you don't care. I wanted to testify about that city of St. Peters, and I wanted to testify against them receiving the $7.5 million in funds because it's a wrong use of funds. My heart breaks with the huge deterioration, disdain, hate, and erosion of this commission with our state legislature, our elected officials throughout Missouri and 114 counties across the state. You sued the hand that feeds you. You sued the state on December 2nd, 2021. You sued the governor, you sued Ken Zeller, commissioner of the Office of Management, and you sued the state legislature in cause number 21 AC-CC-00-461. That status of that court case in Cole County Circuit Court and 18th Circuit has stalled on February 10th of this year. It's all over control, the annual appropriations bill. The commission wants no accountability and responsibility and doesn't want another government body looking over your shoulder. I may enter that case as a resident taxpayer intervener in that case before the judge in Cole County. Why did this commission hire a $500 per hour law firm when you have in-house adequate legal counsel attorneys that you pay dearly at taxpayers' expense? You have received backlash and huge spanking by the legislature in many sessions on the House floor and the Senate floor. There are 5 Senate bills, 14 House bills. Senator Schatz, Sirpoy, who supported you last year, now turned their back and want to rescind the 12-cent increase in gas tax, along with House members Walsh and Eagleston, to rescind and abolish the 12-cent increase that we, the people, defeated at the ballot box. But yet you lobbied the state legislature against our wishes. Currently, there are 435 to 495 frontline employees who you have vacancies in MoDOT. You are asking for 107 new FTEs in the 2023 fiscal year. The legislator laughed at you for that. The frontline in the trench employees received no raise, all while Director McKenna received, I'm told, a $70,000 to $80,000 pay raise while he received a new contract from this commission without public disclosure. Director McKenna turned around and gave a 30 to 35% pay raise to over 30 central office managers in this building at headquarters, while MoDOT workers were left in the dust beyond the districts across Missouri. I will speak with every member of the House Transportation Committee, the Senate Transportation Committee, the Joint Committee on Transportation, and I will request Mr. McKenna's contract, and I will publish it for Missourians to see firsthand. The commission does not post its meeting packets, does not meet public disclosure requirements under Chapter 610, is non-transparent with hiding secrets, like the treatment in the secret meeting you held in October at Mr. Brinkman's number 5 Red Barn Road in St. Charles County. Mr. Brinkman's over 12,000 square foot stone castle on 100 acres, while I stood outside in the heat while you guys met in a secret closed meeting. Your central staff here runs interference. They strive to guard and hide information and documents from the public, limit free speech, screening public testimony, a true violation of our state constitution, which, and I'll sum it up here, which no one cares about checks and balances. And so in closing, this commission must withdraw your lawsuit to repair damage and trust with all elected officials. Missourians are mad over the tax that state citizens defeated, and we need an elected commission instead of buying the office in huge campaign donations to the governor. Stop all conflicts of interest. Stop making money off of our state. We need elected transportation commission from all 8 congressional districts. And I appreciate, Mr. Brinkman, you hearing my comments. I'm sorry that we're unprofessional and there's a buzzing here that's really not needed. And I appreciate you hearing it. And I look forward to hearing some feedback from the director and other commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more item on the agenda that is an action item. Currently, the commission has 3 committees: the Audit Committee, Legislative Committee, and Missouri Coalition of Roadway Safety. There are also 2 boards with the commission membership: the MoDOT and Patrol Employees Retirement System Board of Directors, we call it EMPERS, and Missouri Transportation Finance Corporation Board of Directors, it's the MTSC. Periodically, the commission will need to reorganize the members who serve on this committee.
No. Mine?
You're good. You're good. Does anybody need to have that repeated? No, the back row's okay. So I'll start all over from Mr. Neidorf. Currently, the commission has three committees: the Audit Committee, Legislative Committee, and Missouri Coalition of Roadway Safety Executive Committee. There are also two boards within the commission membership that that is the MoDOT's Patrol and Employees Retirement System Board, we call it EMPERS, and the Missouri Transportation Finance Corporation Board of Directors, MTFC. Periodically, the commission will need to recognize the members who serve on committees and boards. I need to step down from my position on EMPERS board, which creates a vacancy. The commission elects its commissioners to serve on the EMPERS board. I would like a nomination and a second for the EMPERS board. Do we have a nomination?
Mr. Chairman, first of all, I want to thank you for your service on EMPERS. I know that's a difficult job, and I appreciate you, and I know you were a great benefit to that organization. So
thank you.
Second, I'd like to nominate Commissioner Ecker to replace you on the board.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to have Commissioner Ecker on board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Congratulations, Commissioner Ecker. Commission concerns. At the end of each meeting, we like to have each commissioner be able to have an opportunity to share any concerns or comments they may have. Today, I'll start with Commissioner Boatright.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to thank everybody for their time and for being here. The work that's going on for our infrastructure, not only for the folks that are in the room, but for Missourians and for our future generations, it's just so important that we do this work. And I just appreciate everybody's time and efforts in doing so. You know, the commission position is a volunteer position, and one that we all take very seriously, and one that you know, we're here to make a difference for the state. So thank each and every one of you for the work that you do, and I'll turn it back over to Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Waters.
Thanks, Bob. I talked plenty already as usual, but I want to mention the event we had last night where we recognized recipients of resolutions. I thought it was a great event, very well planned, a great location, and to be able to recognize those folks that they weren't able to get the resolution because of the COVID restrictions was fantastic. Also, I thought the AAA event last month at the Capitol was really, really good. And it was great to see the high school kids that were there that participated in their program. So I appreciate AAA doing that, and the MoDOT folks that help work on that. It was a great event. And with that, I'll close. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Briscoe.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll be very brief. The presentations today, I was particularly appreciative of Matt Amick's report on behalf of the Missouri Soybean Association, and you know, I'm proud that some of us are members of that. And I also appreciated Kelly Backus's report on the innovations thing. That was terrific. And the event last night was nice. Also, I enjoyed that and appreciated it. And Mr. Chairman, I will also thank you for your service on the MPERS board. I know that's not an easy proposition.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you.
But very rewarding too, yeah. Thank you. Commissioner Eckert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to start out with first thanking Paula and her team and Jeff up there when we did the tour of the farm bridges with Congressman Graves. I want to put a huge thank you out to Congressman Graves for getting that funding for us to do those bridges. But the thing I thought was most exciting about yesterday, whenever we looked at those bridges, is everybody that's working on them, they were excited. I mean, they were so glad to tell their story, and they were excited about getting to fix those bridges. It was just good to see. The weather wasn't the greatest, but we got through it, and it was worth it. And then, like everybody else said, the dinner last night was fantastic. And I just want to thank all those people that we recognize for their service and hope they're enjoying their retirement, and they're sorely missed. The STIP, Eric, it was a good presentation. That's a lot of work that goes into that, and it is the example to be held up for other states to look at. I hated missing the innovation showcase because that's always exciting, but hopefully I'll make it next year. And like I said, Bob, thanks for serving on Empress. I got big shoes to fill, but look forward to the challenge with that. Buckle up, phone down.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, I just want to, everything's pretty well been said, but again, Patrick, thank you for serving as the chair on the committee, ASHTO's on safety. Appreciate you doing that. It's important. It's good to hear that fatalities were a little bit down last month.
Yeah.
We need to continue working on that. The dinner was great last night, and it was great to see all the retirees show up. That event at the Capitol after our last meeting was very good. It was very emotional. It was to me anyway, but it was just another sign of buckle up, phone down. Bob, thank you for serving on Empress. Terry, you're really going to enjoy serving on the Empress, and I look forward to sitting by you. You're going to really enjoy it. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. I just want to go back to the innovation deal because I was there with Commissioner Waters, and I think it's a testament to this organization that we set up an environment where employees can do that. And it is so cool. If you haven't been to it, you've got to go to it next year. It's just wonderful seeing what those people do. And as some of you know, I do a creativity speech that I give graduating engineers, usually at Rolla. And I've been asked to be the keynote speaker this year to the interns, who many will hopefully work for MoDOT and some will work for someone else. And I would invite anyone that would like to attend that when we find out where it is. It's on June 28th in Jeff City. And I'd like to invite Kelly. I'd like to work with you and take some of your innovations there so they see what is being done at MoDOT. It could get somebody excited about being here and want to make a career here. And the reason for that is there are several ways of being creativity. One is the two parts. One guy has part of the solution, another guy has another part of the solution. And I went around and talked to a lot of people, and that's what I saw there. One guy said, let's do this. And another guy said, well, let's do this and then add that to it. That displaced left-hand turn, that is amazing. There must have been alcohol involved in that. But I went up and I talked to that team, and I didn't even know what a tangent wall was. We've used secant walls before, but that was a great solution. So kudos to the MoDOT people and all the employees that participated in that. And Rich, I meant to speak to you earlier. We should look at some patents if that's available. For some of those for this year, at least a couple of them I thought would provide for a patent. And I just thought of this today. I don't know if you can do anything on intellectual property, but let's work on that. So before we adjourn, I want to note that our next meeting is scheduled for June 2nd in Jefferson County, not city. So go to the county. Do we have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.
I'm out there not walking.